Why don't you say it to the camera, Alf? Whatever. What's going on, sports card hobby family? We are back again. It's another day. It's another sports card video. Welcome back, friends. I hope that you had an amazing weekend. How the heck are we doing? It is already March of 2024, if you can believe it. The thing that shocks me the most is we were talking on Off-Center, Neo and Flippin' Steve about the National. The National is literally like 4 months away. Can you believe that? It just seems like it's just flown by. I felt like we were in Chicago like a couple of months ago. And here we are. Today we're going to be talking about a huge Victor Wembanyama card graded by AGS.
You take the card and put it in the sleeve.
And also a massive vintage baseball card has been unearthed. We will dive right in, but before I get started, huge thanks to today's video sponsor, COMC.com. For all of you baseball card collectors, they are running a special 30% off all select and elite baseball submissions. This promo does stack with fresh pulls, so you can get submissions as low as 35 cents, and it runs all the way until March 8th. We've only got a few days left, so make sure to take advantage. At COMC, I've got links in the video description as well as in the pinned comments to check it out. All right, social media was a buzz over the last couple of days. A grading company called AGS. Now, going back, I think it was maybe like 18 months ago, I ran into these guys, maybe at Mint Collective. They had a booth set up, and I did see a machine that they had that they kind of explained to me how it works. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I understand robotic grading, automated grading. This is something that AGS, TAG, some other companies trying to kind of move technology, kind of meld technology in with card grading. I know that there is a following for it for people that just don't want human grading. This is basically just very little human oversight and more of kind of like, hey, machine looks at it, assesses it, and a grade comes out. Some people are all for it, and some people just like the old-fashioned way. And you know what? Change can be really hard, and it can take a really long time. And I think also the technology just has to be on point. Everybody's got to be very, very comfortable with it. And I still think we're far away from that part. Just an absolute comfort level with that type of grading. I think people do like, even though, yes, there are mistakes made with humans, you still don't necessarily want to leave it up to a machine. The grading numbers would suggest that people still want to stick with kind of proven brands, even if it is just humans and not the Terminator robots looking at it. So what we had is a black Prizm Victor Wembanyama. This is a huge, huge card. It is numbered out of 5, this Victor Wembanyama card, and it was said here that this could be a 6-figure card. This AGS's marketing said that anyway. So it got an AGS 9.5. And again, kind of got interest because I think a lot of people, especially, sports card collectors, are going to look at that and say like, wow, that's guts. Why wouldn't you just go with some of the big grading companies, whether it be PSA or SGC or BGS, CGC, but CGC's just not grading a lot of sports cards right now. But with a card like that, I think the big question for me right out of the gate was, is this a long-term holder for that card? Meaning the owner of that card, the collector / speculator, investor, whatever they are they holding that thing long term, or is it a flip card? Are they grading it to then sell? If you're grading it to sell, I can't imagine why you wouldn't just go with the human graders. Because the facts are is that flippers are going to want this in a PSA or an SGC or a BGS slab. I mean, a flipper that's buying it. And now kind of what you have a very interesting scenario. It's almost as if it might have made more sense just to keep it raw if you're going to go ahead and sell it. Only because the person that's buying it, the flipper, is going to most likely, I can't say for certain, crack it out and send it into a different grading company. And to me, what makes me nervous, I've never cracked a card out of a slab. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are amazing at this. They've done it thousands of times. I would be shaken like a leaf if I had potentially a 6-figure card that I'm trying to wrangle out of a slab. And this is where if you were just going to resell it, it made sense to either send it to the big 4 or just put it in a mag and sell it like that. I mean, a lot of people might pay up just because of the possibility of it coming back at 10 somewhere. So even though you might think, oh, you should grade that and then sell it graded, sure, yes. But this is a perfect example of you're buying the card, not necessarily the grade. It's numbered out of 5. Sure, would you love to have a 10 grade? Yeah, but it's going to command a huge premium based on the actual scarcity, rarity of the card itself. One thing AGS said here in the comments were on fire on this thing too, but they said that this person got a $70,000 offer before it was graded, and now based on comps, recent comps, this is more like a $100,000 card. And I had to question, I thought to myself, did the AGS grade kick it up 30 grand? Is that kind of what they're saying here? Because that's not necessarily the case, especially with really rare cards. If you're not going to go to an SGC, a PSA, or a BGS, then does it add a lot of extra value? I guess maybe it kind of pre-graded it for you to where you can say like, okay, well, the robots gave it a 9.5, so I feel pretty good that one of the major grading companies would give it a pretty solid grade. Probably wouldn't get a 7. At least you would hope it wouldn't, right? So very interesting. Of course, it got a lot of attention on social media. A huge card, a chase card for Wemby, and it went to a company, a grading company outside of the Big Four, and that's always going to get attention no matter who that grading company is. So again, I don't know enough about AGS. I'm sure they do a great job. It's not anything, not a knock on AGS whatsoever, but that was just a post that got a lot of attention. I wanted to comment on it. All right, next up, Sports Collectors Daily reported on a T206 Ty Cobb Red, but this one is special. There are less than 30 known copies of this particular version. It is the Cobb Tobacco Back. One thing I thought that was really interesting about this is that what the article states is that what's unique about these cards is they're believed to have been distributed in these tobacco tins. It made me think too, just like, as much as we, the tobacco companies get all the, terrible rap, obviously, smoking's bad for you and this and that. Man, if tobacco had not taken off the way that it had, would we have a baseball card industry the same way? Because a lot of these pre-war cards, a lot of these huge cards, and I understand there's also food companies that made cards as well. But man, when you look back, it's tobacco companies that were putting out cards to help sell cigarettes, to help sell tobacco. So I think that's just kind of an interesting thought that I had. The rise of tobacco companies probably also meant the rise of baseball cards. But anyway, I digress. Just a little side thought there. Believe it or not, in 2016, a family found 7 of these in a paper bag when they were cleaning out the home of a deceased relative. That's what's kind of fun about vintage cards in general, antiques, I guess, in general, is that you have all these these treasure finds. And a lot of people out there treasure hunting. You got the people on the beach with like the magnetic thing trying to find gold. This is kind of similar. The pickers that are out there that are going to all these estate sales are trying to find these diamonds in the rough. These 7 cards that were found in a paper bag were later auctioned, it says here in the article, at $3 million combined. They actually found an 8th copy and opted to keep that one. But the 8th copy meant that there was a known population of this card of 24 total cards. Article states it is quite a bit more rare than the famous T206 Honus Wagner card. It's sitting on Heritage Auctions right now with a $300,000 current bid. But very cool story. Again, people just finding diamonds in the rough out there, my friends. Maybe we should all just be out there at estate sales and out there doing the American picker thing. Maybe I'll do something like that in retirement because it does sound fun. Except when I'm doing it, I'll be out there in Arizona somewhere and finding the old E.T., the E.T. games, the Atari E.T. games they buried underground. And for me, that will be just as fun. All right, guys, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.